What if I told you there's a group of people who can hold their breath for 13 minutes, dive 230 feet deep, and build entire villages on the open ocean? No, this isn't the plot of the next Marvel movie. It's the real-life superpower of the Bajau sea nomads. These folks have been living on the water for so long that their bodies have literally evolved to handle it. Bigger spleens, anyone? But it's not just their diving skills that'll blow your mind. Wait till you see how they turn a pile of sticks into a storm-proof floating home. Trust me, after this video, your DIY treehouse will seem like child's play. Imagine waking up to the gentle lapping of waves against your bedroom wall. No, you're not dreaming, and your house isn't flooding. This is just another morning for the Bajau people, the sea nomads of Southeast Asia. For centuries, these folks have lived their entire lives on the water. Originally known as Orang Sulu or Orang Laut, they traveled across the seas in small boats called lepa-lepa, which doubled as both homes and fishing vessels. Today, they are the second largest ethnic group in the Sulu Strait, after the Tausug people. When they did settle on land, their homes remained closely tied to their maritime lifestyle. These houses were built on stilts above coastal waters, with a simple, windowless design and thatched roofs made from natural materials. They were all connected by a series of wooden walkways called jambatan, creating a close-knit community that mirrored their floating villages on the sea. Now, you might be thinking, living on water? That's crazy. But for the Bajau, it's as natural as breathing. Speaking of breathing, these guys have some serious underwater superpowers. While most of us struggle to hold our breath for more than a minute, the Bajau can stay underwater for up to 13 minutes. That's not just impressive, it's downright superhuman. Here's the kicker. Their bodies have actually changed to help them live this watery lifestyle. We're talking about bigger spleens that store more oxygenated blood, better underwater vision, and the ability to withstand intense pressure. It's like Mother Nature gave them a full-body upgrade for ocean living. Now, you might be wondering, how do you build a life on something as unpredictable as the ocean? Well, the Bajau have some tricks up their sleeves. Or should I say, in their genes. Their entire way of life is built around the sea. From their homes to their jobs, everything is designed to work with the water. Let's talk about those floating homes for a second. Picture this. You're out on the open ocean, nothing but blue as far as the eye can see. Then, suddenly, a village appears on the horizon. No, it's not a mirage, it's a Bajau floating village, and it's a sight to behold. But what exactly makes these houses so unique? Let's break it down. Each Bajau home is carefully designed for flexibility and resilience. Their houses consist of a roof called an ato, made from tightly woven palm and coconut leaves. This thatched covering is placed at a moderate incline to provide shade from the relentless sun and protection from tropical downpours. The roof is held up by the batung bubunga, a ridge beam made from bamboo or a sturdy wooden trunk. The rafters, called lubing, run along the structure, keeping everything in place. But the ingenuity doesn't stop at the roof. The walls, known as ding-ding, are made from woven strips of palm or coconut leaves and tied to closely spaced bamboo studs, creating a breathable yet durable enclosure. These walls are reinforced by the ueulong, or king post, which helps maintain the home's stability. Inside, the mandalon serves as the heart of the home, a multi-purpose open living space. The flooring, or lantai, is crafted from strips of bamboo, elevated above the water by sturdy wooden girders called dadagan. These girders tie the structure together, ensuring the entire home remains stable, even as it sways with the ocean's movements. And here's the most fascinating part. Every Bajau home is built with a harunan, a thick, hand-carved wooden ladder that extends from the house directly into the water. This isn't just for convenience. It's an essential feature, allowing easy access for diving, fishing, and daily activities. So, you think building a house on land is tricky? Try doing it on water that's always moving. Welcome to the world of the Bajau sea nomads. where your foundation isn't just shaky, it's literally floating away. Now, most of us would throw in the towel at this point. Here's the thing, the foundation is the most crucial part of any home. But when you're building on water, one wrong move could mean your whole house sinks or floats off into the sunset. It all starts with choosing the right location. These sea nomads aren't just picking spots willy-nilly. They're looking for areas with calm waters and natural protection from storms. Think of it like house hunting, but instead of checking out the neighborhood, you're scoping out the currents and wind patterns. Once they've found the perfect spot, that's when the real magic happens. Now, get ready for the clever part. The Bajau create floating platforms using a combination of wood and air. Yep, you heard that right, air. They start by lashing together large logs or bamboo poles to create a raft-like base called dadagan. To an outsider, these houses might seem fragile, but their foundations, hidden beneath the water, are anything but. Each home rests on a floating platform held together by a framework of interlocked bamboo and logs, ensuring they remain stable even when the ocean sways beneath them. But here's where it gets interesting. Underneath the floor, they strap hollow logs or sealed bamboo tubes filled with air, nature's built-in life jackets. This ingenious combination of natural materials and air pockets creates a foundation that's both buoyant and stable. It's like they've found the perfect balance between floating and staying put. And let's face it, when your house is on water, finding that balance is pretty darn important. But building the foundation is just the beginning. Once they've got their floating platform, the Bajau need to make sure their homes don't drift away. Imagine waking up one morning to find your house has decided to take a vacation without you. Not exactly ideal, right? To prevent this nautical nightmare, the Bajau use a clever anchoring system. They drive long poles into the seabed, creating a kind of underwater fence around their floating village. These poles aren't just there to look pretty. They're the unsung heroes keeping the entire community in place. But the Bajau don't just rely on brute force. They understand the sea better than most scientists. By strategically placing wooden anchors and ropes, they turn the ocean's wild currents into allies rather than enemies. With centuries of experience, they've mastered its rhythms, letting the water do the hard work for them. But how do they actually build a house on top of all this? Well, my friend, that's where things get really interesting. The Bajau use lightweight bamboo for the frame, starting with the Batang Bubunga, a ridge beam made from a single straight trunk of wood or bamboo. This beam supports the lubing, rafters, that form the skeleton of the roof. Above them, the thatched roof, known as the ato, is a work of pure craftsmanship, woven from palm and coconut leaves in a way that shields them from the sun while standing firm against monsoon rains. Too steep, and-typhoon winds would rip it off. Too flat, and monsoon rains would drown it. It's the Goldilocks of roofs. The walls or ding-ding aren't your typical drywall. They're woven palm leaves horizontally tied to bamboo studs, creating a breathable shield against salt spray and storms. No windows, no problem. Light filters through the bamboo slats of the floor, lantai, casting tiger-striped shadows across the open living space, mandalon. But here's the real kicker. All of this is done without a single nail, power tool, or trip to the hardware store. The Bajau rely on age-old techniques of lashing and weaving to hold their homes together. It's the ultimate test of measure twice, cut once. Because when you're out in the middle of the ocean, you can't exactly run out for more supplies if you mess up. These folks have mastered a system of wooden anchors and ropes, turning the sea's pull into an advantage, like a game of tug-of-war with the ocean, and they're winning. But wait, there's more. The Bajau people aren't just relying on physical anchors. They're using something even more powerful, their brains. These sea nomads have an intimate knowledge of tides and currents that would put most meteorologists to shame. Remember how I mentioned earlier that the Bajau have actually evolved larger spleens? Well, this biological adaptation isn't just about diving deeper and longer. It's part of a whole package deal of physical and mental adaptations that allow the Bajau to thrive in their watery world. So the next time you're struggling to keep your potted plant alive, just remember, somewhere out there, there's a whole community of people who've mastered the art of keeping entire houses stable on the open ocean, and they're doing it without a single modern anchor or GPS system in sight. Now that's what I call home sweet home, Sea Edition. But now what? How do you turn that into an actual living space that won't fall apart the moment a big wave hits? This is where the Bajau's real genius comes into play. They've got a secret weapon, and it's probably growing in your backyard right now. That's right, I'm talking about bamboo. Now, bamboo might not seem like the sturdiest building material out there. I mean, it's basically a giant grass, right? But here's the thing, bamboo is actually incredibly strong and flexible. It's like nature's carbon fiber. The Bajau use bamboo to create the skeleton of their homes, forming a frame that's both sturdy and able to flex with the waves. It's like they've built a house with a built-in shock absorber system. But a frame alone does not a home make. You need walls, right? Well, the Bajau have got that covered too. They weave strips of bamboo together to create walls that are surprisingly strong and weatherproof. And here's the clever part. These woven walls actually allow for natural ventilation. It's like they've invented air conditioning without electricity. Now, let's talk about the roof. Because let's face it, what good is a house if you're getting rained on all the time? This is where those palm leaves come into play. The Bajau use a technique that's been perfected over generations to weave these leaves into a watertight roof called ato. It's like nature's own shingles. And let me tell you, they work better than you might think. These roofs can stand up to tropical downpours that would have most of us running for our umbrellas. The Bajau use natural fibers to tie everything together. It's like the world's biggest, most complicated macrame project. And the result is a home that's not just sturdy, but flexible enough to move with the waves without breaking apart. For the Bajau, the ocean isn't just their backyard, it's their entire world. These folks are so in tune with the sea that their kids learn to swim before they can walk. While most of us were figuring out how to use a spoon, Bajau toddlers were already mastering the backstroke. It's no wonder they grow up to be such incredible divers and fishermen. Now, let's take a tour of this floating marvel. The layout of a Bajau village is like a spider's web stretched over the waves. Houses on stilts are connected by wooden walkways called jambatan, creating a maze-like community that bobs with the tide. One wrong step and you might find yourself taking an unexpected dip. But for the Bajau, it's just another day in paradise. The Bajau have created a unique way of life that's intimately connected to the rhythms of the sea. They've mastered the art of living in harmony with nature in a way that most of us can only dream of. Their floating villages aren't just a collection of houses. They're a testament to human adaptability and ingenuity. But here's where things get tricky. Climate change is knocking at their door, or should I say, lapping at their stilts. As sea levels rise and traditional fishing grounds change, the Bajau face challenges that even their incredible adaptability might struggle to overcome. Will their age-old building techniques be enough to weather the storm of climate change? Or will they need to find new ways to keep their unique culture afloat? As we ponder these questions, one thing's for sure. The Bajau's way of life is a remarkable example of human resilience and our deep connection to the sea. In a world that's constantly changing, maybe we could all learn a thing or two from these master adapters of the ocean. The Bajau face an existential crisis as climate change threatens to erase their unique way of life. Rising sea levels and erratic weather patterns are wreaking havoc on their floating communities, pushing these sea nomads to the brink. Imagine waking up to find your home literally sinking beneath you. That's the reality for many Bajau families. The challenges don't stop at their doorstep, though. The very foundation of Bajau life, fishing, is under threat. As ocean temperatures climb, fish populations are shifting, forcing these expert divers to search farther and deeper for their daily catch. Some Bajau are teaming up with marine biologists, sharing their encyclopedic knowledge of local ecosystems to help track these changes and develop sustainable fishing practices. Think about it. Who better to help save our oceans than the people who've called them home for centuries? The Bajau's intimate understanding of marine life is proving invaluable to scientists studying climate change's impact on our seas. It's like they've been conducting the world's longest marine biology study without even realizing it. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Those rickety walkways connecting Bajau houses? They're more than just paths. They're inspiration for a new kind of sustainable architecture. Imagine entire coastal cities built on floating platforms, rising and falling with the tides. It sounds like science fiction, but the Bajau have been living this reality for generations. Some forward-thinking individuals are pushing for the creation of official sea territories to protect the Bajau way of life. It's a radical idea, but when your entire culture is built on water, you need more than just land rights. The Bajau's journey from land dwellers to ocean experts is a testament to human adaptability. Their traditional knowledge, from building techniques to understanding marine ecosystems, could hold the key to sustainable living in a world of rising seas. As we face our own climate challenges, perhaps the solution is floating right in front of us, on a humble wooden platform in the middle of the ocean. The real kicker? The Bajau's centuries-old wisdom might just be the blueprint we need for adapting to a changing world. Their ability to read the ocean's moods, their sustainable fishing practices, and their innovative building techniques could provide valuable lessons for coastal communities worldwide grappling with similar challenges. What can we learn from the Bajau's sustainable approach to coastal living? In a world reshaped by climate change, their wisdom might prove invaluable. Could their floating homes inspire solutions for our own coastal communities? Let's reflect on the Bajau's harmonious relationship with nature. How can we apply their principles to create more sustainable living spaces? By embracing their innovative spirit, we might just find the key to adapting to our changing planet. Their way of life reminds us that with creativity and respect for nature, we can overcome even the most daunting environmental challenges. This is Primal Hacks, where the oldest wisdom reveals its best tricks. See you in the next one.